was an unending cycle of feeling a sleeplessness and feeling tired, having to work, having to take care of the kids, having to have a social life for myself, and it would not finish. Today, I would like to share my story with insomnia and how I was able to manage it. I believe it is a good experience for the viewer to see how a sleep doctor manages his own insomnia. Here, I like to state at the beginning that insomnia is something that changes over time and takes different shapes and forms in different times of the life based on what happens with the specifics of the timing and your mood and your outside environment. Different strategies is needed to take care of the insomnia the correct way, pertinent to that time. I will share some stories of my life, and through that, the viewer will see the reasons that the insomnia developed in different stages of my life, in its form, and what was the appropriate management for that. I should say before age of 33, 34, I did not have insomnia. At that age, I had a job that required me to work 1 week on, 1 week off, and the on weeks were all night shifts. And I had to drive around 350 miles to another city where my wife lived and went to school, and we had a newborn baby. So after my night shifts, I had to drive, I had to go to the other town, and I had to take care of the baby in the daytime, right, coming out of a night shift. So every time, this time differences between 2 different weeks would make it really hard to perform a few first days in the daytime, and also when I would go back to work would become harder to perform my job and to go back to sleep in the morning. So here we can see some shift work problem that is the root cause of insomnia. And also it is known anybody with a shift work schedule will get some sleep insufficiency, because by the time they sleep with the poor quality of sleep in the daytime, they will not have enough opportunity to sleep before they have to go to the office in the night to start their work. Obviously, people would like to have some socialization, some personal time out of the work. That the data shows everybody prioritize that over sleep. So most night workers have some element of a sleep insufficiency as well. Another issue pertinent to my schedule at the time was the changes between day and night every week. And it's not easy for the brain to handle that. It does take multiple days for the brain to change itself. And that's right about the time that you go to your next shift. The brain is always in the state of trying to synchronize, but being unable to synchronize. So it was an unending cycle of feeling a sleeplessness and feeling tired, having to work, having to take care of the kids, having to have a social life for myself, and it would not finish. Well, I changed that job. The sleep cycle became different. And during the time that I had that job, I had some strategies to minimize the effect of such a abnormal schedule, I have to say. I know a lot of people have schedules like that, but this is abnormal to human physiology. One thing I did, I used glasses, like sunglasses on the way back home, so I don't become more awake during my commute, even though my commute was short. I Immediately after taking a quick shower, I would go to bed. The room is completely dark, and I did make sure that my bedroom is quiet. Additionally, I made sure that it's a little bit on the cooler side. That helps you with initiation of a sleep and continuity of the sleep. Um, at that time, I didn't know that, but some data shows if a person who is like this um, wakes up after a few hours, does whatever socialization they want, and take a quick nap right before their next shift, it will be very helpful. Like I said, the main thing I did was to change that job. So some environmental changes and some schedule changes needed to to optimize whatever situation I had till I was able to really change my schedule that is more consistent with normal human physiology. After changing my job, obviously my insomnia got a lot better. As you now know, it was not just insomnia, even though it felt like insomnia and sleepiness in other times. It was shift work disorder, it was insufficient sleep and insomnia at the same time. Um, Later on, the sleep wasn't that bad. There was not much problem till I started my own business and I started expanding my business, and the expansion pains caused some anxiety. Started having some difficulty falling asleep, but mainly I had difficulty waking up in the middle of the night and not being able to go back to sleep. And a lot of times this would stay with me till the morning. As a sleep doctor, I knew if this pattern continues, it only gets worse and worse over time and really make me very miserable. One of the things I did, I tried my best when something like this happened and I can't sleep in the middle of the night. I don't feel angry. I take a deep breath. I did meditation. I read a book. I made sure that I come out of my bedroom and sit on a chair. Um, Sometimes I sat in dark and just meditated, and sometimes I did read the book. I made sure that I do not look at any computer, any cell phone, anything that has bright light. I kept the lights dim as much as possible. Um, and when I was tired and ready to go back to sleep, I did go back to sleep. Majority of the time it worked and I did fall asleep. I decided not to oversleep, not to sleep in on the off days, and make sure that I wake up around the same time every day, no matter if it's a work day or an off day. So I put a curfew for myself. My curfew was 8:15. So by 8:15, I had to be out of the bed. In a work day, I normally had to get out of the bed by 7:15 to help the kids to school and then get to work. And on the off days, I didn't want too much drifting, so I gave myself a little bit of time, more in the bed. Normally by 7:40, 8, I would be out, but I wouldn't stay in bed more than that. I also made sure that after I come back from work, I don't take a nap. With this, I increased my sleep pressure, as we say, to use it overnight. So it helped with less insomnia in the main sleep period of the night rather than I break it with a nap. Another practice I utilized was that to have a worry book. So I would write things that would bother me and kept my mind active. So I know I either thought about it or I'm going to think about it later in the morning. So it doesn't keep uh, having my mind going and decreases the mind racing. And as I mentioned, I added some meditation and Zen time prior to sleep with some breathing techniques that I learned that was very helpful. At night, I only went to bed when I felt tired and ready to fall asleep. Um, with this trick, your body will see the bed and the bedroom as a conduit to sleep. While if you go to bed, do your thing, use cell phone, your body will associate everything else, including the insomnia itself, with bed and bedroom, and will have worse time falling asleep because of conditioning is not only to sleep, but is also to not sleeping. So you want to condition your body to see the bed and the bedroom as a place of sleep. Ultimately, these small actions help me to being able to fall asleep within 15 to 30 minutes. Just in parenthesis, if you fall asleep before 15 minutes, it's normally short time and it's sign of you being too sleepy, and more than 30 minutes, it's generally thought of as having insomnia. Occasionally, I deal with skin allergies, and especially on my face, I feel allergic. And this particularly happens when I'm trying to sleep in the bed. So antihistamines helped. There are some antihistamines like Unisam that are more drowsy antihistamine, even Benadryl. And there are some antihistamines that are less drowsy, like Zyrtec. So I use that side effect if I need it for sleeping. However, antihistamine helped with my allergies that by themselves kept me from falling asleep. For many years, I had migraines. And for migraines, sometimes, not all the time, I need to take medications to prevent migraine from occurring. Normally, these medications are used on a daily basis. As a doctor, I knew the periods that I needed more and the periods that I needed less. So if I needed prophylactic migraine medication, I chose something that has a sleepy effect. I like to talk about what I do when I want to meditate. I normally think about a beach. Then I think about single elements of this beach, like the sand. And then I think in more details of that. Like the sand is warm, and the warmth of the sand, I try to remember it or feel it. Or the texture of the sand, the way it feels on the body. Or let's say the wave. I look at the wave in my mind's eye. I look at the details of the wave. I listen. I try to emulate listening to that wave and hearing the sound of the wave. Or if there is a tree branch coming down at me, I look at how the wind is moving these branches. So by thinking about these specific details of this scene that was a calming scene for me in my past and bringing it back to my memory, I have my mind not to race with thoughts and with worries, and instead think and meditate on something that is calming, so that helped me fall asleep. Over time, I observed these little changes in my habits, and obviously, minimal use of medication has gave me a really calming time in the night, relaxed time. I do fall asleep. My nighttime awakening decreased, my early morning awakening decreased. I felt more refreshed in the days, which I really need for my hectic job. Um, if at the end of this, I want to give you two most important interventions that helped me, was one, um, not waking up late and anchoring my sleep time by waking at the same time every day of the week. And the second most important intervention was that I really tried to not get frustrated and not worry about the fact that I can't sleep right now. And that helped with the vicious cycle not starting. Remember minor lifestyle changes. Remember relaxation and meditation. Remember worry book. Remember cool temperature. Remember dark bedroom without noise. Remember to wake up every day on the same time. Remember not to get naps if you have insomnia during daytime. It is very important that if you need to drive and you feel sleepy before that, get a nap, get refreshed, and then drive. Keep a positive mindset. I hope the details of my journey over the last 15 years was able to shed a light on how some portions of human sleep physiology work and how we can work with that physiology to get a better outcome, and also help you to pick up some tips and strategies on the way. Thank you very much for listening. And if you felt that this video was valuable to you, please share it, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate it. Thanks.